Not loud. I probably sound dejected, but I'm not. It's just like we're back in lockdown again.
Oh, right.
Um, I'm not happy about it, but I'm not surprised at the same time. But nevertheless, we move. Um,
We strive.
exactly. Hope everyone's well. Hope everyone's doing okay. Um, hang in there. Hopefully, we'll be out of this by 2nd December. But I think that's
Oh,
wishful thinking. I'm not gonna
yeah,
lie.
you never
The way
know.
things are again, but we'll see. We'll see. Today, me and Ben are gonna be talking about positive. What is it? Is it positive?
Toxic
No, that's it.
positivity.
Toxic positivity.
Yep.
Yeah. Like sharing our views on that really because we had an interesting. Well, Ben brought up the topic and it was quite interesting because we had a convo prior. Just talking about even what that really means. Like, because sometimes when I think of like positivity, you often think there's no such thing as too much positivity. Like, but I think it's not. I don't think it's that. But I think it's more like in the context of would I say bad situations? So like for example now, whenever we go through something bad happens. So whether like we okay, let's just start off with grief here, for
Yeah.
example. Like grief here. So I don't know if about you, but have you ever always had people say, whether that is family or friends, don't worry, time will heal.
Yeah.
Do you hear that common phrase? And
I've heard that multiple
do you know I
times.
don't think that's a bad thing, yeah. But you see the problem with that sometimes is like you just found out devastating news that your mum's passed away. And then someone somewhere is just telling you, don't worry, Ben, in time you will heal. Like, and they might mean well. I don't think that they're saying it to be like horrible, but when you really kind of think of it, when you're out of that place of when you're not in that position of you're going through the emotions and you can think clearly, and you look back, you think actually, in a way, what they're doing without realizing that they're trying to tell you to suppress, well, not tell you, but it's like you're almost like subconsciously suppressing how you really need to feel. Because if hearing news of death, that usually the typical response to the emotion that is you're gonna be sad, you're gonna cry. Do you know what I mean? So imagine that you're trying to do all that, and someone's telling you, "Don't worry, don't cry, and don't worry, in time you will heal." Like that's
Yeah.
not really gonna help. In that moment, you need to. You probably know you're aware of that in the back of your head. You're aware of that, but in that moment, you need to
You.
express
Yep.
the natural emotion that comes with hearing of the loss of a loved one. Do you know what I mean? So like, and I think whilst like people mean well, but sometimes it can be a bit too much. You can almost think like it kind of hinders your own healing because I remember a time, yeah, and this is what I said to myself. So I said to when my mum passed away and we had to like the day of the funeral, and I said to myself, the minute I put her the minute we like obviously bury her in the ground, everything will be back to normal, everything will be fine. Because I think the reason why I thought like that is because I had this idea, like, especially from people around me telling me, don't worry, in time you will heal. She's in a better place. God knows best. So all those like thoughts, I'm kind of like internalizing them to the point where like, okay, yeah, they're right. I shouldn't be sad. Because in time I will heal. Don't worry, God knows what He's doing. I can't question God. Um, and because of all of that, when we bury her, it's gonna be fine. But then what I'm realizing is when we actually buried her, like finally, I felt so empty. Like I almost felt like I even feel even worse than before.
But what does it mean when someone says that, oh, it's going to be fine? Because I kind of feel like when someone says they're fine, it usually means something's up with them.
I,
You know,
I think
sometimes.
I think when people say that, it's like, oh, don't worry, it's gonna be fine. Like it's kind of like it's trying to comfort you, but at the same time, and again, this is just my view. It's not. I'm not saying people need to do this, but I feel like with me, how I deal with things, especially like bad things, like I feel like I need to feel it in the worst possible way first, so that in like say in the future, I don't have any sort of like I don't know, like nothing comes back to bite me. So what I mean by that is like, imagine I've just been spending years suppressing feelings about my grief, and not even trying to acknowledge them or even be aware of what it is I'm going through, but I'm telling myself, you know what? In time you will heal. In time you will heal. Everything's gonna be fine. And then a couple years later now, it just gets too much, and I can't take it in terms of like, because I haven't healed properly, it comes back to bite me, and I feel like that happens a lot. It's happened to me on a few occasions, like, and for me, I feel like that's always worse than the actual, like, I find it worse than the actual time. I don't know how to explain it. I always find that it's worse because had I had allowed myself to like grieve properly during the time, I found out about the news, and not kind of like um subscribe to this whole positive, what is it? I keep getting it wrong. Toxic positivity.
Yeah.
So about telling myself things like, you know what, God knows best, time will heal, all that kind of stuff. I feel like because I kind of told myself that, I didn't really like grieve properly, because I just thought, it's God's plan. That's why I took my mum. Like he knows what he's doing. I don't have the answer. I can't question that, so I'll be fine. But then I realized, no, like, and especially it always hits me, especially on like important days like birthdays, like, anniversaries. I remember last year, like I remember I was walking home from work, yeah, and it just hit me, bro. I was in a corner somewhere just crying, like, and and that's because literally I think for a long time I've been suppressing a lot of things, and then that moment it just come out of nowhere and just attacked me. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I mean. Like, when it comes to, I don't know where I keep getting this from, toxic positivity. Yeah, like, it's kind of, I won't say it's dangerous, but it can be quite damaging. But that's just my view personally. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, with you, like, how do you kind of see it in relation to like your grief?
So I think when the time of when my mum did pass away, I was that kind of person that I just thought, oh, let me focus on other things. But obviously, what you said earlier on, if you don't deal with your grief now, it's gonna bite you in, like, I don't know, in 5 years' time, when you get married, or when, I don't know, or it'll just happen at random times that you least expect it. So it's like you need to deal with something before you even move on, because you can't move on until you've healed.
Do you know what? I'm like that as well.
I think when with toxic, the problem with toxic positivity, I think, is when you're always positive, sometimes it can do more harm than good, because you're just trying to like reinforce that, that positive thoughts that, oh, it's gonna be good, that I'm gonna move on in a month's time. But I think the problem with that is everyone grieves differently, so not everyone is going to be the same as someone that's grieved, like, I don't know, in 2 or 5 years. I guess it depends on what they're using that grief for, like how they're navigating through it, as a person.
Yeah, but it's interesting what you said about like being positive. The thing is, like, for those listening, we're not saying like, it's bad to be positive. It's good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but I think sometimes
definitely,
when you're trying to be positive, when you need to actually, let yourself be vulnerable to a certain situation, or let yourself feel a certain emotion, I think that's kind of that's toxic, because
you can't go through like you can't have like a positive outlook. Well, how can I say it? So you can't be positive all the time, but obviously when a bad situation comes, you just go and hide, because obviously you're always going to encounter good or bad, things in life. And I think there was a question that I'm not sure where it came from, but can you maintain happiness? Like, like, can you always be happy, even though you're always gonna face a certain problem, and it's just gonna bring you like the downhill? I don't know. That's
Do you think you can maintain that happiness?
It's possible, but with like the early problem with that is just the challenges of life. So like, if something just randomly happens and it just comes and costs you, then yeah, you're gonna feel frustrated at that moment.
Yeah, exactly. But this is what I'm saying though. I think like because, and again, I don't like. I always want to add disclaimers. I'm not saying it's not. You can be someone who's happy for the most part of your life, and that's good. But you see, sometimes when you're trying to just suppress things, yeah, because you feel like you should be happy all the time, that's where the problem comes. Like because like, and I'm just talking from my point of view because there's been a lot of times when like I'm going through something, but I'm like, don't. I'm telling myself, listen, don't. You're fine. There's someone who has it worse. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm here complaining about this situation, feeling sad about this situation, but there's someone out there who has like no food, no drink. And don't get me wrong, I'm not like that's an issue and that's unfortunate. But one thing I tell myself, that doesn't like me feeling sad about something that's maybe might seem trivial compared to what someone who's maybe I don't know, like going through poverty,
Yeah.
like it doesn't mean like I can't be sympathetic, but at the same time, like it doesn't make what I'm feeling any less valid. I'm not being insensitive to them, but it's just that I feel like we always kind of do this thing of like, oh, you know what, there's someone else that has it worse to kind of like um push us and to push us through this whole idea of we should be okay all the time. Look, if you want to feel sad about, for example, like breaking up with your missus, yeah,
Yeah.
that's absolutely normal. Like it shouldn't the rebuttal shouldn't be, well, the response rather shouldn't be like, oh, you know what, yeah, bro, don't be sad about so and so. Like at the end of the day, because there's someone who has it worse. Like I get that there's someone who has it worse, but right about now, I'm just exhibiting a natural emotion through something that's happened. You know,
Yeah.
if of course if with a breakup or anything, you know, you're gonna be sad. Do you know what I mean? It's natural. But if
Yeah.
someone kind of says to you, "Oh, Ben, don't worry, man. There's plenty more fish in the sea. There's kids starving. Like, so you
Yeah.
shouldn't. But you're gonna feel sad. Like you understand that there's kids starving, and you're not saying you don't care about them. But right about now, you're in your feelings about a situation. Do you know what I mean? So in that moment, I think the best thing to do is let people feel how they need to feel. Like, and also, and maybe after a couple, I don't know how long it might take, a couple of weeks or days or months, you might be in a better place. But would you rather not be in a place where like in the moment of time when you're going through that maybe like breakup, for example, you allow yourself to feel what you need to feel, you allow yourself to be vulnerable and express all the emotions you need to express, yeah, so that come like in a few months time it might be better for it, you might thank yourself for it. Do you know what I'm saying? Rather
Yeah.
than at that moment suppressing it because you feel like this, you need to be positive all the time, and then come like a couple months after now it comes back to bite you. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's like I feel like, listen, let yourself feel how you need to feel. And like it kind of ties in, and I won't go too much about the whole masculinity, but it kind of ties into like masculinity sometimes. You know, as guys now, we need to be on point all the time. Like we can't really show emotion, but sometimes, listen, I won't lie. Sometimes you just cry in your house, and like you just, well, maybe it's just me, but sometimes there is times when you're like, you know what, like right now, I'm in my feelings about something, innit?
Yeah.
Like let yourself, don't be hard on yourself. Like let yourself just be in that, and you might know, you know what, okay, cool. Right now, in my feelings, tomorrow I'm good. I'm back up again. Do you know what I mean? I'm back to normal. But yesterday, I had to shed a little tear. But tomorrow we move. You see what I'm trying to say? Like
That
so,
makes sense.
like suppressing things, yeah. And again, I'm adding this again because I'm just saying from me personally, suppressing things have always been done a lot more harm than good for me. Like, and I hate the thought of something coming to like creep up on me out of nowhere. Like you're just going about your day and then bam, grief just hits you, or maybe some sort of suppressed emotion hits you. And then at that point, because you don't expect it, you can't even sort of deal with it. It just gets the better of you. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
There must been plenty of times when you've just kind of like, well, I don't know. Have you ever had a time where like, you've been kind of suppressing something, due to people telling you, "Oh, don't worry, it's fine, you'll be fine." And then say maybe a couple, I don't know, it could be months or days later, it just comes back to hit you like full force.
Yeah, I've had those days as well. So obviously, when I talk about my parents, it means that I'm dwelling in the past, or because I can't move on. But it doesn't necessarily mean that that I'm in the past, but obviously I'm just dealing with grief in a better way,
Yeah.
and that I can understand, and yeah. So I think it's just being told all sorts that oh you should move on, with your life. Like I get that, but you're not. You're also. I think the people that say that they're not really in the situation to also talk about it because they don't know what it feels like when you go through that. So I think you got to be a bit more understanding of like being in their own footsteps or seeing what it's like. Or not that I want to wish it upon anyone, but it's not a nice feeling.
Yeah.
But
Or like, no, sorry, go on.
no, I think I'm done. Yeah.
Or like something to tell you, don't worry, she'll want you to be happy. She'll want you to like, and there's a lot of stuff. But I think, like when you kind of like, what like 5 years ago at the time, obviously I was like younger, like, and my thing back then was just like everything people say to me, I just took it as gospel. Especially like like obviously like in African like families, you have a lot of aunties and uncles, and more time all of them are kind of saying the same thing. Don't worry, you're the man in the house now.
I heard that
Time will
multiple
heal.
times.
And then because like it's kind of like the kind of a thing where because they're older, you kind of just respect what they're saying. Like you kind of feel like yeah, maybe he's right. Okay, like I take his word for like I take his or her word as gospel. Like in time, yeah, I will be better. Like we'll be fine. And and again, I'm not saying like they're wrong for saying that, but my thing is that they're not realizing that in a kind of slight way is toxic positivity, because in that moment where you're mourning, in it, you're mourning, and mourning is usually gonna be like you're gonna be sad, you're gonna be in your feelings about a lot of things. It's like a roller coaster of emotions. Like you're thinking about the person who's passed away, maybe what their last words were, all that kind of stuff, and then you're going through all that, and someone just keeps telling you, don't worry, your time will heal, and like you don't right at that moment in time, you don't see any light end of the tunnel, like because you're so engulfed in those like raw natural feelings in it of that comes with like grief in it. But again, you have someone in your around you just saying, yeah, in time you heal, you're the man, don't cry,
I get
blah blah blah
that
blah.
all the
Do you know what I'm
time.
saying? And it's like, listen, like, as men, we need to
All
feel
the time.
what we need to feel, man. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if you need to if you need to express, even if you just need to just like take time out for yourself to kind of like again be in your feelings, man. Like it sounds like as men it's doesn't, I won't say it's not a manly thing to say, but it's not even beyond about men, or it's about just being as a human being. You need to just like be in your feelings, because the only thing I would say right now is important is our mental health. Like, do you know what I mean? I know right now it seems like a buzzword, but it's the truth. It's the truth. Because think about it. Once you lose that, then everything is gone. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you wanna continue to be in a place where you're cool. You're going through things. The grief will hit you one day or hit you constantly, but then you constantly keep evolving and trying to get into a better place mentally. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, and you need to keep kind of like don't be ashamed of like your feelings as well. Because I think with me sometimes, and I don't know if you kind of go through this, but I always feel embarrassed about feeling sad about something. And I say to myself, yeah, but bro, you've been through worse. Like, there's nothing bigger than you. Like anything that I go through now is not. I would say it's nothing, because I've had to do the hardest thing in life is like losing my parents. So nothing can compare to that. But and that may be so, but there might be still things that I go through that I still need to be vulnerable about.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and so myself, what I say to myself, which I'm trying to stop doing, is like, bro, yeah, your mum did pass away, and there's probably going to be nothing that can compare to that. But it's okay to grieve if, and just to make it more clear what I'm saying, it's okay to grieve now. Like losing a friend not necessarily through death, not through death, but losing a friend that we were one close. But so I kind of grieve them, and it's weird because it's like grieving someone who's still alive, but I grieve them because they're no longer in my life anymore. So it's like, I miss times when we used to chill. Like I'll hit him up and like, yeah, cool. Like, what you doing? We like, do you know what I mean? Those kind of stuff, innit? It's okay. It doesn't take away from the grief of my parents, innit? Just what I'm saying. You can still have that. So I think these are the things I'm learning now. Like, so like with you, have you ever had like, since the passing of your parents, anything that you kind of were in your feelings about?
It depends, so I'm not really the kind of person that likes to dwell on my feelings too much, but if I'm going through something, then I'll call a family member or a friend, or just to talk about
Yeah,
what I'm going through, and just try and see through a different picture, or frame on how I can deal with it. So yeah, and sometimes I'll even write it down,
yeah,
on a piece of paper, like what's going through my mind, in the
yeah,
moment, like why am I feeling like this,
yeah.
and what can I do to improve it.
Mm,
So I think it's just when, well, I don't know. Let's say, for example, your mental health is not really at a good place. Like I'll probably, or someone you can call like a um therapist,
yeah.
or someone like, or just get a referral from GP or something, and deal with that situation as soon as you meet him. Because I
Mm,
think I don't know. I think not many people like hearing the word therapy, and if you're a guy, it's like they both don't really add up to some people. But I don't know. I think people's mindsets just need to change in the way they see therapy, because it's not seen as a weakness just because you're being vulnerable, but it's a strength. So some people will take therapy the wrong way, but I see it as a strength,
mm,
and as a way of um taking out all the toxic thoughts like
yeah.
that we're just keeping it as access luggage,
Yeah,
you know.
but that's what it's about though, because
Mm.
see what you're saying right there is like you're allowing yourself to be in your feelings, and at the same time you're actively trying to like confront it. So you're saying, okay, I know this is what I'm feeling, but how can I deal with this? You're not gonna sort of like saying, no, I'll get over it, I'll be fine. You're addressing it there, and that's what it's about. I'm not like it's hard. Do you know what's so crazy? Yeah, like, and I think the reason why, like, I feel like my mental health sometimes has been what I feel like it is through the roof now because we're in lockdown. But one thing, yeah, like I would say has been interesting. Yeah, I won't say finding myself, but I've been kind of forced to like be with myself, if that makes sense. So like before lockdown, we're literally just up, like out, going out, going out, going out. Just so we're not really kind of like not like we're not really kind of chilling. We're just on the go, on the go.
Mm.
So when you're on the go, you're not really kind of thinking about, okay, why did I have this for? Why am I like this? Why am I doing this? Whereas like now, I'm more like, okay, like why am I like this? Why am I, what things do I need to unlearn? What things do I need to kind of just stop beating myself up about? Or what things do I need to embrace and like, do you know what I mean? You just take time to kind of like analyze yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I always used to be scared of that because I'm like, just like, no, I don't want to like. But you can't run away from. You can't run away from yourself. I can deceive you. I can deceive anyone watching, anyone listening. But the minute I'm like at home, alone with my thoughts, you can't deceive. You can't deceive yourself. You can tell yourself, try to convince yourself, but you know yourself better than anyone. Do you know what I mean? So like, and I feel like one thing, as much as it's been hard, yeah. But one thing I'm kind of grateful for, like I'm getting to a new have this new mindset where like, I'm learning to kind of like just be vulnerable more, when I need to be. So like if I go through something happens, I allow myself to express those emotions because then they're natural. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't tell myself, right, you need to go over this quick. The people out there who are suffering more than you know, I express it. I let myself feel what I need to feel in that moment. And it's scary sometimes when you have to kind of like look at yourself and analyze like your behaviors, your emotions. It's like just literally just kind of like just putting an X-ray on your mind and just kind of like just looking at it and just seeing, right, okay, that needs to go. I can keep that. That needs to go. Right, that's toxic. That definitely needs to go. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, and I'm not glad that lockdown. I'm not glad that lockdown happened, but I think the silver lining in lockdown for me has been like, okay, you know what? I've learned a lot more about myself, like, and it feels good. It feels good. Do you know what I mean? Like, it feels good. Like, like, so I'm grateful for that. Like, even just like being here, us just talking, like even it's like I've never felt so comfortable. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I think like that's even that in itself alone is good. Like that we have this kind of space as well as it being a platform, but it's also like a space where, do you know what I'm saying, we can like be open and I'm saying share our thoughts. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
So I think that's what it's about now, man. Everything is just,
that's what it's about.
like just being like confronting yourself, man, confronting your feelings. Because it's hard though, because sometimes we don't like the truth sometimes when we kind of like like analyze ourselves and realize, there's some things that we need to unlearn as well. We're not perfect. We're not like, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're
like,
not Superman.
we can't sort of like have this perfect image. Like, I'm not gonna go into my deal, but there's some things where I know. Listen, you need to unlearn. You need to not to be perfect, but just to. It's more so for growth rather than perfection. Do you know what I mean? And that's the thing. Like sometimes, if you always focus on perfection all the time, you can't be perfect. There's no such thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I think that it kind of goes back to the what we're talking about. Like, I don't know why I keep putting positivity over toxic. It's toxic positivity.
Yeah.
I keep saying positivity toxic. Yeah, so that's why with toxic positivity, yeah, like, I won't say it's a bad thing, but I think it can be quite damaging to always push this whole quote unquote like pressure to be okay all the time. Like, do you know what I mean? Like okay, for example, now, yeah, like let's like kind of take it to lockdown, yeah. Like what we was talking about of it when we're on our way here, like like if you're not learning a new skill during this period, if you're not doing this and that, then I don't know what you're doing. Like, like we're out here, we're learning new skills, we're doing this now, we're starting new businesses. And don't get me wrong, that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But the only thing that problem I have with that is trying to apply that to everyone. Not be some people who just right now this whole period is like a relaxation from their hectic life, or even for some extreme cases, maybe it's a way for them to kind of like like maybe be more at peace. But then exactly, but what about the person, yeah, who's going through domestic violence? Like, are they gonna want to hear about? Oh, I need to learn. Right now, you're trying to fight for your life. You're not thinking about a new skill. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, and again, I'm not saying people who say that are wrong, but my thing is that you can't spread it across everyone. You can't apply it to everyone because, again, some of us, for some, yeah, that's cool. They're learning new skills because they have the mental capacity to do so, and they want to use their time in lockdown to do that. That's fine. But for some, they might want to just chill. Maybe for them, it's a break from, I don't know, their hectic work life. So maybe like working from home is a lot easier for them. Maybe for childcare reasons if they have children.
Yeah.
Or it's just a more relaxing setting for them.
Yeah, it could be a form of escapism as well.
Exactly. So it's not, and then we always hear all the time, like, it's coming close to the time of that year. Oh, you know what? New year, new plans, new, like, what have you achieved this year? Listen, anyone who says that needs to read needs to read the room, because we've all been. This year has been a madness.
Yeah.
Like, so it's not about what have you achieved this year. Look what I've done this year. I've managed to, like, that's good. It's good for you. No one's saying it's not good, but it's like, cool, okay, cool. Not everyone. Don't now then look at down at other people who may not have. Maybe they didn't achieve anything according to your sort of like standards of achievement. Maybe for them it was just about, you know what, I survived the year. I'm good. That's it. I'm done.
Yeah, I
Like,
think
that's my year's been complete because I came out of 2020. I survived it.
yeah, that's why I like what you just said, because some people don't see it that way. Because obviously, I think when I sent you that thing a while ago,
Yeah, I saw it
on
as
the
well.
first
Yeah,
lockdown about I think it was a fitness influencer that
yeah.
said that, oh, if you're not doing anything productive or during this pandemic or lockdown, it means you're, I don't know, lazy, or I don't know, you're just not
Yeah, nah, you
serious.
can't.
But
Yeah, it's can't. Yeah, and that's the thing. Sometimes you see, like with just last kind of point before we round off. Yeah, like especially like on social media as well. I feel like it's this kind of like it's like a big echo chamber where everyone just like, yeah, positive vibes only. Look at you over there. My man's being positive. Look at you over there, positive. And then like let's just say like we walk. Okay, let's just say like social media is one big club. Yeah. So everyone's on the dance floor. Everyone's like, screaming, yeah, positive vibes. Yeah, positive vibes. Like positive, you know what I'm saying? Positive vibes, positive vibes. And
yeah,
then we walk in now. Oh yeah, guys, I'm grieved. We walk in now with our like, telling people about our grief. So this is how we've been dealing with grief. And people are like, nah, man, nah, it's positive vibes only.
mm,
We don't want to deal with all of that. That's what it's like sometimes. But then it's not, obviously it's not real, but at the same time, yeah, I get it. It's positive vibe. It should be from social media, innit? But there's a flip side to it where like, people do like show their best, like their best life in it, and rightly so. You want to exhibit your best. It's like your highlight reel, so you show the best bits. But for some, yeah, we show the best bit. For some, we show the dark bits. For some, we show the real bits. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's not always gonna be all the time. Yeah, people showing all the highs. And I'm not saying it's you're wrong for that, but you can't sort of like ostracize those who kind of do show like, the hard times. Like, what's so crazy, like it's so like mad, yeah, like there's been some people that I kind of see on Instagram, yeah, and like, they live in the high life, and then there's been times when they reveal something kind of like personal, and I'm like, oh raw, like I didn't even know that. I already respected them, but it kind of makes me even respect them even more, because I see that, yeah, you are like real. You know what I'm saying? You're
yeah,
like you're not just living this kind of like, like fake, trying to promote this fake image. You're saying, listen, it's not a fake image, but this is a real image. Like, I can still do my drip, but at the same time show you that, I'm going through something terrible, but I'm still human. I'm still me on this platform. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
it's like,
And I think that's why the influencers, music artists, footballers, so they all need to be honest about what they're going through, even though they're enjoying, the life of their time. I think they just need to be more honest and transparent on
yeah,
on like Instagram, Twitter, on this like
mm,
what they go through, so that other people can also relate, to think that they're just not this they're not just robots,
yeah,
and even with a documentary I watched on like football mental health with
mm,
Prince William, Thierry Henry, Gareth Southgate, Danny Rose,
yeah,
and Jermaine Genius and Peter Crouch, and they were all just talking as men, like what they go through on like on a football pitch, and
mm,
even incidents that have happened outside the pitch as well. So yeah, that's really fair. That's what I really liked about it. They were really honest
mm,
about the incidents that they all
yeah.
went through
It's because like,
individually.
yeah, because especially like with looking from the outside looking in, you just think, yeah, these men are just making money, like doing, but then, but they're also going through stuff as well, innit? Do you know what I mean? Like, but even with the whole football thing, I even want to have someone in mind that I feel like would be good for us to get on here, even to talk about that aspect of like football, like, and mental health sort of thing, like just kind of give us an insight into what it's like. and the experiences of it, and especially that he's a young guy as well. So,
Yeah.
so definitely want to do that. But what was I gonna say again? Like even like a few weeks ago, like I saw like what's his name?
Was
Like
he a
Philly.
Man City player?
No, do you know like I think he's a YouTuber like Philly.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
Philly
Was he
and
playing the England charity match? I
yeah, yeah,
think.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think
So
yeah.
Philly and Chunks, they kind of like
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
think they do like some YouTube stuff,
Yeah, I've heard of them. Yep.
and then he came out like a couple weeks ago saying like he's had like I think he's had some anxiety in it,
Oh yeah.
and it was kind of interesting because I just thought like because normally you see him and he's just like he's the most confident, something like the most confident person. So it was good that he kind of opened up and was transparent about that, like because sometimes again when you're on the outside looking and you just think right, this person, look how confident he is, look how and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he's not confident for now saying he suffers from anxiety, but
Yeah.
I feel like it was very
Some-
good to see like he's being honest about himself and and showing people that what, yes, I can be this loud character, I can be this character that people love and gravitate towards, but at the same time I go through stuff as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I think that was interesting to see. But any last points we should leave for the listeners before we jet out?
So I'll probably say with toxic positivity, don't overthink when it comes to like, I've got to be the best. My mental health has to be really good, but I don't know. You just need to take your time with things like this because you don't want to over rush. About how you feel about something. Like I think in the moment when you're going through that situation, you just got to deal with it at that time, so that it doesn't come and bite you in a few months to come. Or something.
Yeah, definitely. That's I fully agree, and that's what it is about. Like, because we don't want to have to go through that. Like because we suppress things, then later on it comes back to bite us, and you're even worse, and it's just like you just feel like you just feel even like you've not grown. Like just me, like healing is a hard thing, but I think it's one of those things where like in that moment in time you might want to just kind of like get over it and stuff here, but in that moment in time, once you allow yourself to feel what you need to feel, in a couple of years later, your future self will thank you for it. Like, or you will thank yourself when you get to that point. Like, you know what? I'm glad I didn't kind of rush myself through this difficult time. I'm glad I let myself feel what I need to feel. And there's nothing more beautiful than knowing that looking back and you said, you know what, I'm in a much better place. At the time, I was crazy, like it was mad, but I allowed myself to heal. I allowed myself to express these emotions that are natural. So that's what it's about. I just hope all of us, those listening, whatever it is you're going through, and I hope you're dealing with it well. I hope you are giving yourself that, not being too hard on yourself. Like, feel what you need to feel. It does matter if someone has it worse. But what I'm trying to say is that, like, it doesn't sort of invalidate what you're going through, or doesn't mean you care less about the person who does have it harder. Like, let yourself feel what you need to feel. But it's been a wrap. Sorry, it's been a pleasure.
You right?
Thank you guys for listening. As always subscribe to the podcast on the available platforms. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcast,
Google Podcast.
What's the other one? What's another one? Did I miss something? Did I say Spotify?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
I'm forgetting now. And also, like, listen, we've gotten a few. Well, I say a few reviews. We've got like 3 reviews. So we're not begging out here, but leave a review. Do you know what I'm saying? Let us know your thoughts. We're always welcome to constructive criticism and all that stuff. But let us know your thoughts. Share with a friend. Any episode that you like. So follow our Instagram page, Thinking Out Loud Pod _. We're gonna be on YouTube
Very soon.
very soon,
Yeah.
hopefully. You know, so we will have all the episodes, just visual content for you guys. You know, but other than that, that's it from us. Hope you guys take care.
Have a good week.